It is probably of no surprise to you that 99% of agencies' outreach get ignored, and you may be in this position where your agency's outreach is getting ignored right now. What I'm going to do in this video is go over exactly how to flip that on its head and start getting outreach campaigns that are going to be generating you qualified sales calls every single week. Okay, here's a campaign that we ran for a client recently, targeting only 536 people, making it very targeted with a 6.9% reply rate and a 76.6% reply rate. Easy for me to say, 25 opportunities. There's a clear difference between the campaigns that are using the things I teach in this video versus the campaigns that don't. The ones that do get significantly higher reply rates and significantly more interest. So let's get into this. The truth is your outreach actually gets ignored because you're reaching out to the wrong companies at the wrong time. It's all about timing. Timing and relevance is absolutely crucial for cold email success in 2025. The truth is, it's not your fault. It's literally impossible to do this manually at scale. If you're doing this manually, you'd probably only be able to do it for maybe 10, 20 businesses a day. You need to be pairing volume with timing, right? And relevancy in your outreach. It would take way too long and you have other parts of the business to run as well. However, as you can see, AI just changed everything. Okay, the hard truth about agency outreach, most agencies are actually demand capture versus demand gen. What this means is you have an offer that doesn't generate interest in itself. The likes of sales and marketing offers, they are demand generation, and you don't really need for someone to have this on the top of their mind in order to want your service. For example, if you can increase someone's sales and their pipeline or their conversion rate, and you can guarantee that you can do this, pretty much any business would be interested in that. Whereas a lot of agencies out there and a lot of other businesses are actually demand capture. You may even have some clients, if you're a lead gen company doing this, that are like this, that have demand capture offers. And this is where the importance of timing comes in. It's really, really crucial you get that timing right, especially with these demand capture offers, right? It means that, for example, you can't really convince a company they need a rebrand if they've already just done one, right? But if they've just raised funding and their website looks like it's from 2015, they know that they need you and the timing there is right? But you're not going to figure this out unless you do the AI research. Okay, the problem is finding the right companies at the right time. Okay, the typical agency outreach, what it will look like is send 100 emails to ICP fits that you just scrape off Apollo, maybe one or two respond and they'll say, oh, it's just not a priority right now, or reach back out to me in 3 months, back out to me in 6 months, and then you get ghosted, right? Or we're happy with our current setup. The truth is these companies don't need you right now. The timing's off. There's really no point doing mass outreach on this level unless you have a demand gen offer. But like I say, most people have a demand capture offer. So you need to tailor it so timing is right on your prospect side. The question is, how can we do this, right? Here's what actually gets responses. If you reach out when something has changed to do with that business and the relevancy is on point. What you need to be looking at is intent triggers. You can use tools like clay.com. You can also use automations like Make and NAN to do research. I'm going to show you a little bit later in this video exactly how you can do that. But you need to be finding intent triggers. These are basically signals that indicate a company is ready to use your service right now and it's going to benefit them right now. Let's take a look at some examples and see if any of them are relevant to you watching this video, right? Let's take a design/branding agency, right? For example, if they've just raised funding, a new executive hire, rebranded a competitor, or open new locations, these could be good for design and branding agencies, these sorts of triggers, right? If they've just received funding, they may be looking to do a rebrand. If they've just had a new senior leadership hire, maybe a CMO, chief marketing officer, then they may be looking at the agencies or vendors they're currently working with, right? For a web dev agency, let's say their website is over 3 years old. They may know, the founder may know this, or the chief of marketing may know this, that they need to rebrand that website, right? Or they need to develop that website. Maybe also they're hiring engineers. They have job posts out for engineers, right? Full stack engineers, for example. Maybe they just got acquired by a competitor or by a larger company. Or maybe they're migrating platforms. All of these things we can use as intent triggers to reach out to the prospects. If you run a content or SEO agency, let's say your publishing frequency has dropped from the prospects you're reaching out to, right? That's something you can use as leverage in your email to say they actually need a content or an SEO agency. Let's say they've lost key rankings, they've gone down in the rankings on the Google search. Maybe they launched a new product line, or maybe they're entering a new market, all of which you can find from LinkedIn news, from news about the company online, or from their website, which you can use AI to do the research for, especially Clay and Clay's tool called Claygen. you can actually do AI sort of deep research on the web in live time, in real time, to figure out these sorts of things from your prospects. Let's say you have a video production offer. Maybe this company's just launched a rebrand and you want to reach out to them, or maybe they're hiring for a marketing team. Maybe their competitor has just released a viral campaign and you can mention that, right? And it's going to create a bit of FOMO. Or maybe they have a trade show coming up that you know they're attending. A video production agency could be great to partner with to get the most out of that trade show. The idea is ultimately every business is going to have different intent triggers, but you're probably going to know the similarities your prospects have when they come to you usually, right? If it's they're getting ready to sign up for a trade show or they've just received a round of funding, you want to find these similarities and these common points. If not, you can also use AI to research them to see which ones are the best, because ultimately AI has just come up with these. I know these would work. I've used similar intent triggers and signals like this in the past. The AI has created the idea for me, right? But the difference between that 1% response rate and that 7% response rate is actually reaching out the very time they need this, right? The very time, the very week, the very month they're thinking about hiring someone like you. If you want access to more of these intent triggers, some of these clay workflows that will allow you to do this for yourself, for your agency, or even for your clients, then join my school community below. Link is in the description. But it's important to understand why you can't do this manually. It's actually impossible to some degree, because once again, with cold email, you need scale, but you also need these intent triggers. If you're just going off the intent triggers, you're not going to find enough in a day to actually make this worthwhile, right? So every agency doesn't do this because what it actually takes manually, right? You'd have to be monitoring hundreds of companies manually on LinkedIn, on their website, on different sources online for these changes. You'd have to check the funding announcements, hiring pages, press releases, website updates. You can't do that manually. You don't have enough time and you don't have enough bandwidth to do this. Even hiring a VA is not going to be capable of doing this. So there's really never been an opportunity like we have now to leverage AI to find these intent triggers, to find businesses that need your services right now. And then obviously following up, doing the outreach all manually is very, very difficult. If you're doing this to even 100 prospects, which isn't enough probably to sign a client, it would take 20 to 30 hours per week, and it's just not scalable. And also by the time you found that signal, someone else has probably already reached out and they've been using AI. So the AI solution, obviously this is where AI becomes a complete game changer. What we'd do is use AI to detect the intent, right? So AI can monitor hundreds of companies 24/7. Let's say you set up a clay table, you can be monitoring hundreds of companies' websites, news about companies, funding rounds of companies, etc. And AI is scanning for these signals that you won't catch manually, because it could be on a specific page on their website, it could be online where you may not see it. So here's some examples of what AI can find for you. Let's say the company posts a job listing. You can obviously find that using AI. They're growing, they need to scale operations, etc. Funding announcements, you can also use AI to find these automatically for you, right? If their website hasn't been updated in X number of years, you can use AI's research to do that, specifically on clay. If there's been a leadership change, once again, you can do this. You can even have triggers notify you on clay if people have moved jobs in certain positions that you're looking for. Let's say you want to be notified every time a new chief technology officer has been placed at a company. So you can reach out to them and potentially pitch your technology or your service. Let's say a competitor has made a move as well, right? You can use all of these things to detect the intent triggers that may indicate a need for your service. Once again, clay is probably the best place to do this. And then on top of that, not only do we have intent triggers, but we also want to make the email hyper-personalized to this prospect. So once AI actually finds that trigger, it can then research the company deeply. We can generate outreach that looks like you spent hours researching them. So instead of sending a message like, "Hi name, I help companies like yours with web design, would love to chat about your website, do you have 15 minutes this week?" which will just get ignored, super generic. Yes, you can do super high volume. You can send thousands of emails a day like this and maybe get a few meetings booked. But what's going to work substantially better and get you in this 5+% reply rate is something like this, right? That's AI powered with an intent trigger. "Hi name, saw you just bought Sarah Chen on the CMO, congrats on the hire. In my experience, new marketing leadership usually means a fresh look at brand positioning within the first 90 days. I work with B2B SaaS companies, specifically in fintech. Notice you just launched a payments feature to translate product launches into brand moments. Not sure if timing is right, but would you be open to a quick call?" This is so much more targeted and looks like it's been written by a human, but this has been written by AI. So if we break down why this works, you can see there's a specific trigger. We're reaching out for a reason. We're not just pumping outreach with volume for no reason in the hope that they need us. We're actually using intent triggers to base our outreach off of, right? It also shows the research that we've done. If they have a new payment feature launched, like this B2B SaaS company has, then it shows we've done the research on them. Also, the relevant expertise. So not only are we just targeting B2B SaaS, but we're also talking about the fact they're in a fintech, which makes it even more targeted and relevant to the prospect. It acknowledges their timing, and there's no generic feel with this email, right? So here's something, if you want to try this out and you don't know necessarily how to build these, I would build these obviously within Clay, and then the deep research that you can do, I would use using Perplexity, hosting it on Make or NAN, which once again I'll get onto in a second. But let's say you just want to try this out today and you can see how effective it is. Here's something that you can try. So what I would do is give a simple AI prompt into Claude. I would recommend Claude. You can also use ChatGPT, but Claude is substantially better at copywriting in my opinion. And you can just say research company name and identify any intent signals that would indicate they might need, and then insert your service, recruiting or marketing or sales optimizations. Look for recent funding, leadership changes, new product launches, website age, hiring activity, competitive moves, market expansion, and recent press launches. Summarize what you find and suggest a relevant angle for outreach. If you just put 10 of your dream companies in here, you can see the type of outreach it can create for you, right? And you have to write a single thing. You don't even have to write the framework. Okay, Claude can do this for you. And once again, I do recommend Claude. Now, imagine if you're doing this for 200 plus companies every single day on autopilot. Just by pressing a button, you'll get substantially better results. Obviously, this method is just the tip of the iceberg. If you actually want a system that runs for you 24/7, AI will obviously monitor and find all the intent triggers. AI will also write the emails, and then you can also get AI to push it into your Smart Lead or Instantly campaign. Then I would actually build a system or Make or NAN. Once again, if you want to learn a bit more how to do this, then feel free to join the school community. And you can also pair it with the likes of Perplexity for AI research, and then Claude to write the copy. So you can find a bunch of companies maybe that have just received funding, then get Perplexity to enrich these, find even more information that you can use and personal insights about these companies, and then use that to get Claude to write the specific email for each of the contacts, and then obviously pump that into Smart Lead or Instantly. And it will work so much better. But overall, this isn't just about reaching out to more people and pumping more volume. It's about reaching out to people at the right time and using research, not that we've done manually, that AI is doing completely for us on autopilot, to make it seem like our outreach is way more relevant. Okay. Hopefully this video has been useful. Feel free to drop in the comments if you want to see more videos like this, or if you want me to start going over some Make and NAN systems that you can specifically use. But that's how we currently use AI intent triggers in our outreach to make it even more personalized and relevant to the prospects that we're reaching out to.